Hey, good morning, you guys. So, I have been a busy little bee and have some journals that I wanted to show you. I'm going to be listing them today, probably, I don't know, within the next few hours. I have to take pictures of all of them and do descriptions and all that kind of stuff, but I decided that it's better for me if I just go ahead and make a video and upload the video. It just kind of motivates me to make sure I get them listed. Because sometimes I'll just, kind of procrastinate that. So, um, anyways, I've got 8, I would say, distressed journals that I finished. They're all a hardcover, repurposed vintage book. Most of them are books where I didn't necessarily want to keep the title of the book and stuff like that. They're just the size of them was what I wanted to use, and the thickness too. So most of them I did not have to rebuild the spine or anything like that because they were, for the most part, they were in really good shape. But I actually did a lot of this distressing on a live stream, maybe a month and a half ago. This one in particular, this one I did put a new, no, actually I didn't. I just actually kind of reinforced it with some canvas, a few layers. So this one's really cool. It's really soft. So this video might be a little bit lengthy, but I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys all of them in one video, and I'll try not to, dilly-dally, but I'm not going to flip through completely each one, but I will point out what's different about each one if I think it's, significant, okay? And I'm not even going to try to stop saying and I'm sorry if it drives anybody crazy, but the more I think about not saying it, the more I say it. So I'm just not even going to care. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry, but whatever, you know what I mean. All right, so the first one, well, some of them are different, they're different sizes, but not dramatically different. So this one measures almost 9 inches by, I'd say 5 3/4. I'm going to zoom in 1 click. Okay, 2 clicks. And the spine is right about 1 1.25 inches. And each one of these is 3 signatures. I think they're all 3. Yeah, I thought maybe that one was 4, but they're all 3. So this one's stitched together with just some cotton twine. I left the strings long and I just tied them into a bow. You could add some charms or beads or something like that on there if you wanted to. I did do an eyelet on the cover. This one I just did one on the back at the top and then added some of my little charm, tile charms and maybe a postage stamp or something. Yeah, there's one right there. And these are just, tiles that I make, and they're coated with triple thick and done on chipboard and stuff, attached with ball chain, so it's easy to, put stuff on there or move it or whatever. And then this one has a hitch post closure. There's a image here with a little butterfly behind a sheet of acetate stitched onto this card. So this one will be titled Marvelous in the shop. And seam binding closure there. So I didn't necessarily go with a color theme or anything like that, but I think each one sort of wound up almost with a color theme. I don't know. I did stuff these quite full. Each one is definitely packed with tags and ephemera and things like that. I really tried to pay attention to the pages that I used. I wanted to make sure there was a good variety there. There's a lot of stitching on the pages. I did, a bunch of fabric, I guess you call them a tip-in, in a lot of them, and used a lot of book pages out of some like vintage field guides and things like that in these books. Like I said, they're all sort of similar, I didn't really do much in the way of tabs, but there is quite a lot of like fabric or different trims stitched onto the edges of the pages and stuff like that. So I used a lot of stuff making these journals, and I started them probably a couple months ago, and I've just, for some reason, not really felt inspired to work on them. But in the last couple weeks, I just sort of got this burst of inspiration to get these guys done. And, I've been making a lot of mini journals lately, and, making a lot of tags and stuff like that. And so I thought, this is a good time. This is a good way for me to use up a lot of those tags that I've been making with the book images and stuff, So I did use quite a few, and some of these little like tuck spots are made out of cardstock that has some advertising and different images adhered with beeswax, and then I stitched a piece of acetate around or on top of that with a few little, bits kind of collaged behind the acetate, I guess you would say. So, and then I added a lot of pieces of like vintage sheets. That's some fabric that I got from Gina at the Rebookery recently, and I gotta tell you, she's got me just about hooked on the vintage sheets. I've always loved them, almost as much as she does. I just never thought about using them as fabric, So I was really, I saw a video of hers where she was talking about it, and she had listed some for sale, and I was like, oh, you know what? That would be really cool. So I bought some from her, and I'm glad that I did. And so now she's got me looking at vintage sheets at all of the thrift stores now. I never used to look at them, but I know exactly what she was saying about the softness and just the nostalgia, and then also some feed sack fabric scraps that I got from, I bought them on eBay, just like a lot of just small scraps, there's like, I think there was like 100 in each, no, you know what, these didn't come from eBay, these were actually from Etsy. They were from an Etsy seller. I'll try to find who it was and link it in the description, but she actually had a couple of packages of just little scraps, so they were like 2 by 4 inches or something, was like the biggest size. So, and this is sort of, just a bunch of pockets. And then there's also a lot of like vintage wrapping paper in here, in all of these. Some of them I used to make, pages, and then others just little like journaling cards and stuff like that. So, okay. And this one will be titled Sublime in the description. And this one actually has a piece of sari silk trim. It's like sequined trim along the edge here. 3 stitches or 3 signatures again. And then another image behind some acetate stitched on. And then I just did some paper flowers and stuff on there. And this is actually not vintage seam binding, but seam binding. And some envelopes. And I used some of these little tags that I made from some images out of a book, like vintage images, you know. And I made some little like file folders out of one of those little organizer things, those expandable files. You know, I cut the whole thing apart and just used the paper and made some little file folders. The sun's coming in my window. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it. It's early morning here. It's like 6:30, and the sun is just, you know, breaking across the neighbor's house or above the neighbor's house. So lots of stitching and images from vintage books, field guides, flower field guides, mushroom field guides, a lot of bird images. Not so much in the way of advertising in these. I didn't use a whole lot of advertising ephemera. And this is just like a little bundle of papers attached with a, not an eyelet, but, I always forget what those things are called. A brad. And this is some vintage wrapping paper. And some bundles of ephemera and journaling cards just attached with paper clips throughout the book. And each of them has at least a couple of those. There's fabric again. So really nice variety of textures and different weights of fabric and stuff like that in each one. These are just some coffee dyed scrapbooking paper made into like a little trifold. And some coffee. Most of the paper that's not a book page is coffee dyed or tea dyed actually. Wrapping paper. And I couldn't decide if this was actually Christmas wrapping paper or not. I know it really looks like it is, but I don't know. Like it almost isn't. So I think it goes either way. So that's why I went ahead with it. Just pieces of tea dyed. I do a lot of tea dyeing and also a lot of coffee dyeing. So I never know. It goes one way or the other, but I can't remember which is which on what piece of paper. So this is a piece of wrapping paper that I just kind of folded into thirds and then stitched it across the bottom and made it into like a pocket page. Each one of these is pretty thick. Lots of tabs or tags and, you know, flip outs, a lot of book pages, some handwritten letters, more collaged images with the acetate. I know this is going to take forever. I've got 8 journals here, but you know, what else do you have to do, right? There's a lot in each one of these books. There's a lot going on. These are just like old, like vintage bills and receipts and things like that. Different types of ephemera. Wrapping paper is definitely considered ephemera. You know, it's has a temporary use, or like a fleeting use, one-time use. It's for a particular occasion or reason, and then it's usually thrown away. So thankfully there have been people in the world that were obsessive about saving wrapping paper, because I've been finding it in thrift stores and estate sales lately. These are a couple of little glassine bags or envelopes, excuse me, that are stitched onto this little center map. So then I'm flipping through this one. It's in its entirety. I think the next, the rest of them, I'm going to just kind of flip through real quickly. And then there'll be 10 photos of each journal on each listing. So you'll get a pretty good sampling of what kind of pages there are in all of these books from this flip through. And then, I would just use different images or different tags and stuff like that in each journal. So, but this does give you a really good overall picture. And the pockets are a little bit different in each one, but generally they're going to be very, very similar. There's another tag behind there. So, okay. So that is Sublime. And then let me get this tied back up. And I usually tie, because I like to have the seam binding pretty long. I just like the way it looks. I think it's pretty. So I usually just go like with a double bow, just to kind of contain it, All right. So there's that one. And then this one is called Gypsy Soul. And it's got a little tag on here with some more little knick-knack tags on the eyelet there. Hitch post closure. Kind of went pinkish, I guess, in the beginning of this book. Quite a lot going on. Very full. This one, I forgot to measure that last one, but I'll measure this one, and then that'll give you a good idea of the size of the other one too. Just that last one that I did, because I think they're the same size book. So yeah, 3 signatures. Lots of pockets, lots of tags. Okay, so that's Sublime. And let me tell you the size on that one. It is 7.5 by 5 1/4 by 1 3/4 on this one. And this is some also some sari silk on the binding here. And then I think this one's the same. Well, this one's actually a tiny bit bigger, 7 3/4 by 5 by 2 inches. A little bit thicker, but still 3 signatures. Okay, and this one is Daydreams. And this one I actually I added some buttons onto the strings here on the spine. It's got some little tags on a chain, seam binding closure, and oh yeah, the sun's getting pretty bright, isn't it? Well, that's okay. It's almost summer. We got our swimming pool all set up yesterday. We have like an above ground pool, you know, and it, you know, you just put the cover over it in the wintertime and it, you know, freezes over and that kind of thing. And then I think it's like I don't remember how long it is. I think it's 23 feet or something, but it's like 5 feet deep, and it doesn't have a heater or anything, but it warms up pretty fast in the summer, and it's so nice when it's, believe it or not, in Spokane, we get some really hot days in the summer sometimes. I mean, it can be in the hundreds. So that pool sure is nice to have on those days, I can tell you that. And we're having like a Mother's Day / birthday gathering on Sunday. That'll be tomorrow, but I doubt if that pool's going to be warm by then. Okay, so that one is, what did I say it was? Daydreams. This one is a little bit bigger. This one is Simplify. And this one is a little over 8.5 by 5.5 by 1.5. Seam binding closure. Pretty fat. These are pretty fat, I should say, fluffy journals. And like I said, the pockets are going to be a little bit different in each one, but generally the same kind of feeling. Okay, you're just going to get different pages, different pictures and stuff like that, but very, very, very similar. Some of them I use more, I guess, like paper flowers in them, I guess, than others. A couple of them, I think I added a couple extra bundles with paper clips, I think one of them was a little bit, not as chunky, and so I added a couple additional little bundles. Because each one of these little bundles has 5 or 6 items in it. So, yeah. Okay, so that one is, I just said it and I can't remember, Simplify. All right, let me tie this guy back up. Come back. I love dyeing my own seam binding. I just love making up my own colors, because I'll mix like orange and fuchsia and red and stuff just to get my own kind of combination there. Kind of like on this one, it's like blue and green. Anyway, so this one is Quietly, and this one has a piece of sari silk on the binding too. I did that on some of them because I was noticing a little like hairline kind of cracking on the spine, like right on the edge, and so I reinforced that with glue, but then I wanted to cover it, and then it's also reinforced on the inside with fabric. So you'll see what I mean. See, it's got a piece of fabric attached to the front and the back, and then right down the center of the spine, just to, take kind of some of the stress off of the edges of the spine. Lots of flowers, and there's some fabric pockets in some of these. Not a ton of them, but there are some. And then I used some of my ruffles and just little little bits and bobs here and there. Didn't use as much postage as I normally do in these, but I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to go more with like the ephemera and like the floral images and stuff rather than the postage stamps and stuff. So this one has a tag right behind this pocket. So this one has the hitch post, so now it's a little easier to close. And yeah, it's kind of on the purplish side. Did I measure this one? No, I don't think I did. So this one is 9 by 6 by about 2 inches. So, and again, 3 signatures again. Okay, 2 to go, you guys. So this one is, what did I name it? Fly. This one's called Fly. So it's a hitch post closure. I actually found some vintage seam binding that was 1 inch wide, which I thought was really cool. I had never seen that before. So look at, it's like 1 inch wide. Go figure. And this one has a little bit thicker spine, but still just 3 signatures. And this one measures, 8 inches by 5.5 by almost 3 inches. So yeah, this one has a lot going on. It's super, super fluffy and chunky. A lot of pockets, a lot of tags. I have not counted the pages in these, but I will give an estimate on the Etsy listing, you know, about the number of pages. What I usually do is I count one of the signatures and then, you know, do the math after that. I don't usually count every single page. And I mean, I suppose if, you know, somebody really wants to know exactly how many pages a particular journal is, then I would be more than happy to count them for you, if you'd like to know. And you know what? If you ever want to see a little more detail on anything in any of my journals, I'm happy to snap a picture and send another photo to you. You know, just send me a message on the on Etsy through the listing. So okay, and this one is Ponder, also 3 signatures. And it's got that, you know, it's a Reader's Digest that is, you know, repurposed, so you can kind of see the pattern that was on the cover through the treatment there. It's actually Inca Gold that I treated most of these with, and a little bit of just like pigment ink. So, and then around the edges on most of them I did some liquid leaf. So this one's got some tags in the orange family for the most part, and a seam binding closure. This one, actually, the signatures that are in this book were in another journal that I had put together more than a year ago, and I just, for some reason, I just didn't like the cover that it was in, or that these were in, and so I just took that book apart and sewed the signatures into this one, because I really liked this cover. So, and I thought, you know what, that other book is just gonna sit there forever, so unless I do something. Sorry guys, I'm a little sleepy. It's been a long night. So live stream later on this evening. I'm going to say 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. And we're going to be doing some crocheting. I'm going to do some crocheted flowers for those of us that like to use crocheted flowers in our journals and stuff. I thought that would be pretty fun. So, yeah, 4 p.m. This Saturday, the 12th, so today. And then I'll do my regular live stream again on Wednesday. So, all right. So again, I'll do like a double bow on this. Maybe. All right, so that's all 8 of these journals. And I will have them listed. Oh, did I measure this one? It's Reader's Digest, so it's 7.5 by 5.5 by 1.5. I will have these listed here within the next couple of hours. So if there's one that you're interested in, keep your eyes out. And if you have favorited my shop, you should get a notification when I upload or list new items. Okay. Just keep your eyes open for that. And then don't forget, I do have my Mother's Day sale through tomorrow, okay, through Mother's Day. So if you haven't, if you've wanted to take advantage of it and you haven't yet, this is a pretty good opportunity. You're going to get 20% off any purchase over $100. And then any purchase $50 or more for at least the remainder of this month is going to get free domestic standard shipping, okay? So over $50, so not a bad deal. And I still have some little free mini journals that I'm giving away with each journal purchase, okay? Not each journal in an order, you know, like if you buy 3 journals, I'm not going to give you 3 free minis, but I will give you 1. So, yeah. But, yeah, and I still have a few of those left. So if you want one, now's the time. Anyway, and listen, you guys have a great Mother's Day. And I will hopefully see you later on today. But if not, then yeah, happy Mother's Day for tomorrow. And thanks for watching. And I love you. Okay. Bye now.